for tuning in. Today's video is another high-end dupe, and today we are doing Pottery Barn and Anthropology. All of these pieces that I found I thought were really great and transitioned from Christmas to winter. There's only one item that is specifically Christmas, but everything else you can use way after Christmas if you're anything like me and you're a little lazy when it comes down to taking decorations. So I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
And please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Let's go ahead and get started. For this first one, I'm going to be using this large willow wreath from Dollar Tree, and I'm also going to be using 3 bundles of these greenery bouquets from Dollar Tree. If you can't find these in Dollar Tree and you happen to have another bouquet of Dollar Tree flowers or roses, you can always pick off those leaves that come with it and use those instead. You'll be saving a little bit of money and getting use of something that you're probably not using anyway. So I went ahead and cut these leaves down so that I can hot glue them, and usually I don't hot glue, but for this project I found it very necessary. So I just cut them all separately, and I've separated my bigger ones into one pile and my smaller ones into the other. The smaller ones are the ones that I'm going to be spray painting, and I'm just going to do a metallic gold. Usually I use Rust-Oleum's bright metallic gold, but I couldn't find it in stores, so this will do. I made sure that I let the leaves dry really well before I moved on, and once they were completely dry, it was time to hot glue. Now this part is really easy. You're just going to add glue to the back of your leaf and start placing it directly on the willow wreath. Now I didn't do this in any particular order. I just went ahead and followed the pattern and then randomly added my pieces of gold. So eventually I did use my scissors to cut down certain pieces of the leaves so that they don't look like identical leaves being glued on each other. I also switched the position in which I was adding the leaves just to give it a little bit more dimension, and I even went ahead and added leaves to the back of the wreath just to make it look a little bit fluffier. Now I do want to mention that for all of these crafts I'm using the 1 can of the same gold spray paint, and I have a ton left over, so I don't think that it should be averaged into the cost per craft. So this one was $5 if you're not counting the spray paint, $8 if you are. For the candles, I'm going to be using these 2 candles from Dollar Tree. Obviously they're LED candles and you can't light them, but I've always wondered if you can melt stuff on them because they do have a very thin layer of wax on there. So I'm going to be using 2 methods, and this I got from my yard. I highly recommend using real ones for this because they lay flat, and I'm going to use Dollar Tree Mod Podge and spread it generously on the candle. So now I'm going to take my greenery and I'm just going to start placing it on the candle and then Mod Podging upward, which is where the leaves are going, and I'm going to try and get this as flat as possible. Now I'm going to add slowly so that it doesn't move around, as you see is happening. And you can also just do the bottom layer, wait for it to dry, and then do the top. That's totally up to you. But this method was completely fine with me. To help flatten everything without it getting stuck to my finger, I used some parchment paper and I just wrapped it around and pushed all of my pieces in. I didn't let it dry like this so that it wouldn't stick, but I did go ahead and add pressure. Once I took it off, this is what it looks like, and I'm just going to cut down those little extra pieces and let it dry. For the next candle, which is a method that I was curious about, I'm going to try and do this like a traditional candle, which is melting it on there. So I went ahead and grabbed my pieces and placed them how I wanted. This doesn't have a lot of wax, so you can't really overlap a lot of areas. So I went ahead and left plenty of space and added my parchment paper. Well, actually, I think this is wax paper. And then I'm going to grab my hairdryer and melt this in the direction that the leaves are facing. Now before removing my paper, I made sure that it had cooled down completely so that it wouldn't come off, and that everything was nice and pressed in so that you didn't have any lifting. So then I went ahead and removed my paper, and I was so happy that it worked. I was really curious about this method because if it worked, then you can totally put someone's image on it, or every season kind of switch it up and put little greenery pieces on here. Using this method, it's really easy to remove your greenery pieces. So if you wanted to reuse your candle, you totally can, and you can remove it and put something new on top. So I really like this method. It was also a whole lot faster and a whole lot less messy. In the end, you can't even tell the difference between the version that was Mod Podged and the candle that was melted. For this next one, I used 2 of the Dollar Tree deer ornaments, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the bottom piece. It is super cute, but I'm going to go ahead and spray paint this. If you want to keep it the same color, you totally can, because it is a really pretty sparkly white. They also have a glitter gold one, so that is up to you. I went ahead and removed all of the glitter using sandpaper from the Dollar Tree. It is not very thick, which is perfect for this. I lightly buffed it so that the glitter can come off. And if you wanted to spray paint it with the glitter on there to have some texture, there's certain things from Dollar Tree that has glitter that's nicely applied. This isn't one of them. Even if you add hairspray or Mod Podge, the glitter just comes off in chunks, so you're better off just removing it and re-glittering it, or just spray painting. Once everything is completely removed, it's time to make him into a little curtain. And if you wanted to save money, you can just split this in half and use 1 instead of 2. Or if your curtain rod is really close to the wall. But I'm going to use 1 for each side. So this is the curtain rod that I'm going to be using, and what you can do is save this piece for later so that you can interchange them and make everything look different. Now this screw on the inside, they have something very similar in the hardware set from Dollar Tree. So this one actually fits perfectly, but because it's round, I chose to use this one that has a flat back, and I tested it to make sure that it went all the way in, and thankfully it did. So I went ahead and used this one to make my little curtain end. Is that what you call it? Maybe. So I used E6000 and some painter's tape, and I ended up using a duct tape roll to hold my reindeer in place. I added a nice amount of E6000 to my screw and placed it in the middle. And this has lines on it, so it's perfect to see where the middle is. And then I quickly added my strips of painter's tape to make sure that it doesn't slide down or to the side, which E6000 tends to do. The next morning, I went ahead and removed the pieces of tape and made sure that this was actually secure. E6000 is amazing, but sometimes when there's no room for air to have everything dry completely, it just won't dry. So sometimes you have to end up E6000ing things twice. E6000ing is now a word. I double checked the fit and to make sure that it fits on my wall without anything being pushed forward, and then I spray painted the entire thing using my Rust-Oleum's metallic gold. Once everything was spray painted and completely dry, bam, I had gorgeous reindeer curtain ends. For this next one, I'm going to be using 2 picture frames from Dollar Tree, and these are rectangular. I don't know the measurements, but they do have 2 different sizes, so depending on how big you want your stocking holder, you can use that. Now, I know that the picture frames are really lightweight, but we are going to add some weight to the inside of them by using the Dollar Tree pebbles. Now, you don't want to toss these on there because, of course, this is glass. You want to delicately place this on there until you have a nice, even layer of pebbles. Now the pebbles are going to add a good amount of weight on there so that you can hang this off of your mantle without it plunging to its tragic death. And then I attached everything using E6000. At first I did one straight line, and then I realized there was divots in the frame, so I did a crisscross motion so that everything was fully covered. I placed my frame on top, making sure that it was perfectly aligned, and then I did grab a rag and try to get rid of any excess glue that was seeping out. If I had any kind of clamps at the time, I probably should have clamped them together, but I ended up using some heavy stuff around the house to create some weight. the hooks, I used this 2-pack of hooks from Dollar Tree. These are command hooks. Usually I use the locker hooks, but I felt like this needed to look a little bit more delicate, and I think that these are pretty sturdy. So I went ahead and added them using E6000, and I placed some painter's tape to keep them in place. When everything was completely dry, I removed all of the weight from my frame and the tape, and then I'm going to use a combination of these LED trees from Dollar Tree and the ceramic LED trees from Dollar Tree as well. I positioned them on my frame before I secured them down to make sure that I liked the placement, and then to secure down I used my E6000 and made sure that I was really generous, and I let it dry really well before spray painting. And for spray paint, of course, I used the same metallic gold. And when I was done, I had a beautiful stocking holder that was a whole lot cheaper than Pottery Barn and Anthropologie. I really hope that you enjoyed these dupes. Let me know in the comment section which one is your favorite. Let me know if you would display this in your home well after the holidays. And please don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.